Today I'm sharing a project that's perfect for maker parents, maker grandparents, or anyone who wants to mentor and nurture the creativity of a little one in their life. More importantly, I'm hoping the message of this video quells some of the hyperbole circulating around the internet regarding the impending doom of Gen Alpha. My daughter is 5, and apparently she falls into the middle portion of this so-called Gen Alpha. And if I buy into all of the bullshit embellishments surrounding the generation bashing the internet loves to spew out, then my daughter is destined for a life of increased rates of depression, anxiety, and self-harm. See, it's all too easy to get sucked into believing the doomsday predictions. As a parent, you feel a sense of concern. You do a little research, and then all of a sudden, you're sucked down a rabbit hole, and shortly thereafter, you've become a full-on convert to believing there is no hope for our kids. So then what do? Do we all throw our collective hands up and say fuck it and let our AI overlords take over? No, absolutely not. And being defeatist here, it isn't an option when literal lives are at stake. There's a great deal we can do. But before we take the ultra-reactionary approach to a supposedly already lost generation, how about we collectively step back and focus our efforts on how to save Gen Alpha and be the change our kids need? Unlike most of the faceless, fear-mongering, view-chasing channels offering no real solutions other than just parent better or take the screen away, I'm advocating the making of this silly little workbench to offset the perniciousness of screen time. One weekend out of your life can make a lasting impact, and the sooner you get your kids interested in a tangible skill, the more likely they will be to become well-adjusted young individuals. And after having this bench around for a few months, I can say without a shadow of a doubt, this thing has worked wonders in reducing my daughter's screen time. But here's the catch. You have to go one step further than the if you build it, they will come mentality. And I'll explain that step later on in the video. I'll admit up front, I never intended this video to be a how to build this type video. Those of you out there that have a moderate amount of skill and understanding in woodworking will have no problem unpacking the steps involved to make one of these benches for yourself or your kids. And those of you who have no inclination to build this workbench, then please use this project as a metaphor for a potential solution to a much greater issue. High five, kid. Nice. Yep. Now, we wait for the So this workbench isn't just about giving your kiddo a space to hammer in nails. It's about fostering imagination. It's about developing problem-solving skills and instilling a sense of accomplishment through working with their hands. It's about creating a mini makerspace where a child can explore, experiment, and unlock their inner inventor. One of the many criticisms of Gen Alpha is the fact that because they are supposedly squandering their youth being raised by iPads, they'll somehow find a way to one-up Gen Z's self-centeredness and skill deficiencies. If that isn't the pessimist pot calling the fatalist kettle black, I don't know what is. I mean, for fuck's sake, give these kids, and better yet, give these parents a chance before we throw the baby out with the iPad. You might have heard the phrase, "send me to Mars," floating around social media. If you haven't, don't worry, you're just old and of sound mind, so I'll briefly walk you through this ridiculousness. "Send me to Mars" has become a meme for Gen Z. Think of it as a way of expressing their generation's frustration with the world and a desire to escape to somewhere, anywhere, but here. Now, I don't know about you, but I've seen pictures of Mars, and it doesn't seem like all that great of a place to want to relocate to. It's barren, it's friggin' cold, there ain't all that much to look at, and the lower levels of gravity and breathable atmosphere pose a tiny bit of a health risk to us humans. Now think about that meme in another way. Social media can often feel like nothing more than a highlight reel for other people's supposed perfect lives and or their supposed successes, which can leave innocent onlookers feeling inadequate. We're constantly judging our self-worth on the number of likes and views our posts get. So we've been conditioned to believe that the entirety of our self-worth should be based on those bullshit metrics. Then, what happens to our psyche when we don't get those likes and views? We get sad. Everything today is all about more. More money, more sex, more influence, more power. And we've collectively created a culture that has resulted in the development of a massive inferiority complex and has caused irreparable damage to our collective emotional well being. So I say this regarding this whole send me to Mars concept. Fuck Mars. Earth is just fine. But Earth is only fine because I choose to make it fine for myself, and I strive to try and make it a little bit better for everyone else around me. If you want to escape, then escape into something productive and tangible right here on Earth, in our homes, in our garages, and in our shops. Escapism into a virtual world isn't escapism, it's cowardice. We have it within our power to build a place where imagination can take flight, where kids can learn by doing, and where kids can feel empowered to create something real with their own hands. But only if we recognize that we need to be proactive and present in our kids' lives. Now, let's address the elephant in the room, which I alluded to earlier in the video. You might have seen headlines about Gen A being disengaged or lacking practical skills, but here's the thing. Every generation learns differently. Our job isn't to pit them against the good old days, but to provide them with the tools to thrive not only now, but for the rest of their lives. We haven't collectively done that yet, but there are a handful of us showing the world how we're trying. The fear-mongers have chosen to push the narrative that parents have already quit, and they've generalized this generation is lost, rather than doing the work necessary to ensure Gen Alpha has a bright future. You might be thinking, isn't this Workbench just another phony-ass screen replacement project to get views? Yeah, it is. And I'll tell you this about this bench, it works. But there's something even more powerful happening here. Mentorship. Dr. Jonathan Haidt, who is a social psychologist, talks about the rewiring of childhood in his book, The Anxious Generation. He highlights how fear-driven parenting and the constant screen time can leave children lacking essential social skills, skills that they can learn right here at this workbench. See, the true value of this workbench is about creating a space where you can work alongside your child. You can become their guide, their partner in exploration. As they drill a hole or they saw a board, you're teaching them focus. You're developing eye-hand coordination, and hopefully even a little bit of patience. More importantly, you're building a bond. Countless studies show that positive mentor relationships are crucial for a child's emotional well-being and self-esteem. This workbench becomes a launchpad for conversations, for sharing stories, and for creating memories that will last a lifetime. So while this project helps reduce screen time, it's the mentorship aspect that truly sets the stage for a child's future success. By giving your kiddo a workbench and acting as their mentor, you are equipping them with the confidence and skills they need to navigate life's challenges. This workbench isn't just about providing a space to build widgets. It's about building a bridge between generations. So enough with the generational blame game. Boomers didn't ruin the environment. Our environmental issues started centuries before boomers were even conceived. Let's stop blaming Gen X for extractive capitalism. Newsflash, if you haven't seen the Vanderbilt Mansion, Pretty sure that dude was extracting wealth long before your yuppie parents farted around with penny stocks. And enough with believing millennials are just lazy and too sad to go to work. I work my ass off to provide for my family, and so does everyone else I know that's my age. We just chose to do it differently than your William White organization man did. Blaming generations is shameful, it's small-minded, and it's self-serving. It's time we stopped being divisive and become solutions-oriented, because Gen Alpha depends on us all. By working together on this workbench and at this workbench, you're not just creating a physical space for creativity, you're fostering a connection, passing on knowledge, and showing your child the value of hard work and accomplishment. Based on the demographics of my channel, many of my viewers range between ages 35 and 65. If your kids are older than my 5-year-old, then getting them off of their screen might be more of a challenge than it has been for me, but it's a challenge worth undertaking. If you're a younger parent, taking a preventative approach like I'm doing will enrich a life and could potentially save it down the road. Let's face it, raising kids in general is pretty damn hard, and in today's world, it's overwhelming. We're bombarded with headlines about screen addiction, social media pressures, and a whole generation supposedly headed for doom. But here's the thing. Negativity breeds negativity. And after watching and listening to this video, let's choose to focus on hope. This workbench is a symbol of that hope. It's a testament to the power of nurturing the creativity and curiosity that's already bubbling inside your child. Remember, a little spark can ignite a lifelong passion. Who knows? Maybe this workbench sparks an interest in engineering, or in carpentry, or even in just the joy of tinkering. Perhaps this bench becomes the thing they choose to lean into, and not choose to spend time on that damn screen. And the best part? You get to be part of the journey. You get to witness those aha moments, the problem-solving skills kicking in, and the pure, unadulterated joy of making. You're not just building a workbench, you're building memories and a bond with your child that will last a lifetime. So if you're a parent, don't get discouraged by the sensational headlines or the trashy, incendiary thumbnails. Let's focus on what we can do. Let's empower the next generation with the tools, both physical and mental, to build their own futures. Let's choose to build workbenches, not anxieties. What are we going to build next?
A birdhouse.
Okay. What else?
A boat.
Boat.